The time is 5:30.
Good evening. The time is 5:30. I'm calling the Adelanto Elementary School District meeting to order. We're going to get started with the roll call and quorum establishment. Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus present.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer present.
Trustee LaFrench?
Love French present.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart present.
Trustee Soto?
Soto present. We'll be taking items 2 through 5 into closed session. Before we do that, we're going to have our Madam Vice President read the public comment speaker card.
Pledge of Allegiance.
For some reason, I'm skipping that. But all right, Nicolas. VP, would you please lead us in the flag?
If I could please have everyone stand, place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Madam VP. Now we're moving to closed session. The speaker card, VP.
Yes. The public comment period is administered by state law and is the point in the meeting set aside for members of the public to share their opinions with the board. Open meeting laws do not permit the board to engage in dialogue or answer questions. Any person who wishes to address the governing board on closed session agenda items only must complete and submit an AESD speaker request form 5 minutes before the meeting is called to order. Public comments will only be taken on agenda items during the discussion of those items. The board values public comments, and although the Board of Trustees cannot take action or discuss items not on the agenda, the Board of Trustees listens carefully and appreciates input from the public. Additionally, a public speaker can be cut off for exceeding the allotted time or for willfully causing an actual disruption to the meeting. Before cutting a person off or removing someone, the board will give at least one clear warning. If you were cut off or warned last time, please consider that your warning. Individual speakers are allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each closed session agenda item. The board limits the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add.
Thank you, Madam VP. Do we have any speakers, Ms. LeVay?
We have Mr. Tapia.
Good evening, trustees, cabinet members, parents, certificated and classified staff, as well as students. My name is Stephen Tapia. I am the ADTA president. ADTA looks forward to continuing with our unresolved bargaining session. We are hopeful that the district is acting in good faith as we discuss sped language, health and welfare, and a competitive salary schedule. We have seen surrounding districts settle with multi-year deals, and perhaps we should be able to do the same. We need to work together to build our relationship where trust is paramount. Mistakes will occur like in any relationship, but we need to focus on what we need to do to fix those problems and how timely we are in addressing them. We made a couple mistakes this beginning of the year. What I've learned is that we need to do a better job at maybe forecasting and planning an entire year, getting input from all stakeholders, and being solutions oriented. It's not my goal to chastise the board or cabinet. My goal is to find solutions to issues that face our community, our district, the employees, and the students together. As we enter the 2026-2027 school year, I promise I am here to work with you, to find solutions, to fix problems, to mend trust, and to build. But the body here has to be able to be here for the same reasons. You are leaders of Adelanto. Your actions and inactions speak louder than mine. So let's work together to make improvements. Let's be competitive in both test scores and earnings. And let's be examples for all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Next speaker, please.
I have Lauren. Oh, is Diane here? Diane, come on up.
Good evening, President Soto, trustees, interim Superintendent Dr. Vegas, cabinet, classified staff, certificated staff, and all those present and those of you on YouTube. Our first negotiations meeting is this Thursday, August 13th. We are so pleased that we are starting early and hopefully we will wrap up 2025, 2026 and move on to 26, 27. I've decided tonight to repeat part of my speech from our back to school breakfast, mainly because less than 20% of our 400 plus classified staff were unable to attend. Last month, I had the pleasure of attending our CSCA 100th conference with Becky Nisio, Don Hampton, Lesbia O'Neill, and over 2,200 delegates from California. One subject stood out for me, being leadership. On my drive home, I was realizing that all of us play a role in leadership, whether you are a proctor or superintendent and all others and positions in between. Leadership in school is about taking action, supporting others, and setting a good example. Our job regarding leadership is to enable you to empower students and colleagues. Our voice and experiences are indeed most important, and we need to honor that. Our learning goals have as much value as any standard or outcome laid out by the power that be. Learning is personal, and all of us should help students and staff to discover their passions and build on their strengths. We know not every day will be awesome because we work with kids. They are much like us, only at the beginning of their learning journey. So let's help our students to learn, smile, and more importantly, belong. When we treat our students and staff with respect, they, in return, will respect us. Core leadership is number 1, communication. Number 2, active listening. Number 3, empathy. And number 4, initiative. True leadership is focused on supporting, empowering, and helping others succeed. Effective leaders adjust their leadership skills based on the needs, skills, and confidence of the individuals they are leading. The next 4 topics are not only for students, but they are also for ourselves as well. By directing, tell them what to do. By coaching, guide them while they learn. By supporting, encourage them and involve them. By delegating, trust them to handle it. Leaders starts with action. These are a few things I learned at our conference, plus my own life experiences. I have a quote from John Quincy Adams. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Let's make this best school year yet, the best school year yet, by giving 110% for our students, our parents, our staff, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Next speaker, please.
We call on Lauren Benson. She's speaking on item 2.4 in closed session.
Good evening, board, cabinet, and members of the audience. Happy birthday. I'll be speaking a little bit later about the current school year. First, I want to congratulate our executive assistants on winning their against Trustee Krause's appeal regarding the restraining order against him. You deserve the protection and so much more. I am deeply disappointed and quite frankly disgusted by the statements made by Trustee Soto and Trustee Kyer regarding the Court of Appeals decision. In my view, those statements lacked integrity, and even more troubling, they failed to meaningfully condemn the conduct that led to the situation in the first place. I find it appalling that our executive assistants have had to pursue legal action against the district because they felt the district failed to adequately protect them and address their needs as employees. Where is their whistleblower protection? Where is the commitment to ensuring that employees who raise serious concerns are protected from retaliation and workplace harassment? I can relate to some of that frustration because I also feel that the district has not appropriately addressed my own complaints and allegations of harassment. I have been cautioned that by speaking out, I may have put a target on my back. I already believed there was one placed there by members of this board, but now I have to worry about whether speaking up could also jeopardize my relationship with my employer. I am also extremely concerned about the way the district has handled complaints made by Trustee Krause, particularly when taxpayer dollars are being used to address what appear to be his personal complaints and claims. I believe district resources should be focused on students, employees, and the educational mission of this district, not on using public funds to pursue or defend claims that have not been adequately substantiated. Finally, I'm deeply concerned that this board chose to replace the attorneys who had been handling the workplace violence matter involving our executive assistants. A significant amount of district money had already been invested in that firm, and those attorneys were familiar with the history and circumstances of this case. I question how it can be appropriate for a board majority to dismiss or replace legal counsel in the middle of an ongoing workplace harassment matter involving district employees. To me, that decision raises serious questions about accountability, transparency, and the district's commitment to protecting its employees. Now this district will need to spend even more money to taken away from our classrooms on a new law firm. Simply abstaining from a vote or letting a motion die does not, in my opinion, resolve you of any guilt about the situation. When board members allow decisions like this to move forward, it can send a message that harassment and workplace violence are being tolerated, or at least that employees cannot count on the district to stand behind them when they come forward. That is not how you create a safe workplace. It is also not how you retain dedicated, experienced employees. Long-term employees are watching how their colleagues are treated. They are watching what happens when someone speaks up. And they are deciding whether this is still an organization where they can feel respected, protected, and valued. Our employees deserve better. Our students deserve better. And our community deserves a board that prioritizes transparency, accountability, and the safety and well-being of the people who serve this district every day. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I like your shirt. Any other speakers?
That concludes the speakers for closed session.
All right, moving on to closed session. We'll be taking items 2 through 5 into close. I motion that we go to close. Is there a second?
Kyer, I second.
We'll take the vote. Ms. LeVay?
Trustee Krause?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, aye.
Trustee LaFrench?
LaFrench, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto?
So do I. Motion passes 5-0. Time is 5:43. We're in closed session. Good evening, and welcome back to the regular meeting of the Adelanto Elementary School District. We're reconvening back to open. The time is 7:21. We'll take the roll call, Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus,
Kraus present.
Trustee Kyer,
Kyer present.
Trustee LaFrench,
Love French present.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart present.
Trustee Soto.
Soto present, 5-0. We have a quorum. Moving on to the adoption of the agenda. Any proposed additions, deletions, and adjustments in the order of business?
None.
There are none. Moving on to the adoption of the agenda. I move we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer, I second.
We'll take the vote, Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus,
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer,
Kyer, aye.
Trustee LaFrench,
Love French I.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart I.
Trustee Soto.
So do I. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to staff reports and presentations. Educational Services Staff Report of Williams Settlement, fourth quarterly report, 25-26 school year. Dr. Villegas.
I will go ahead and respond to that. So every year we have to do a quarterly report on the Williams, where they come in, meaning the San Bernardino County Office of Education, and they do an audit in 4 different areas: in school facilities, in school accountability report card, the SARCs, the teacher assignment monitoring, as well as instructional materials. And I'm very pleased to state that again for the fourth quarter and the final annual report, we have absolutely no findings in all areas. We're in complete compliance.
Excellent, thank you. Moving on to public testimony. For items listed on this agenda and non-agenda items within the subject jurisdiction of the board, do we have any audience members?
We do. The board calls on Lauren Benson.
Good evening again. The reason I am speaking during this portion of the meeting tonight is to advocate for our families, our students, and our district. I believe our community deserves to know what is happening in our schools and how these decisions are affecting the people who are working directly with students every day. The start of the 26-27 school year has been less than ideal. First, our school supplies were being held back and orders were not being filled. Basic items such as pencils, crayons, colored pencils, and glue sticks were not available for teachers to provide students on the first day. These are not luxuries. These are basic necessities that teachers and students need in order to do their jobs. In addition, our math curriculum was not ordered in time, and we still have not received math curriculum for our students. This is extremely concerning, particularly for our newer teachers. I have plenty of resources. However, with no copy paper and low on toner, it's even difficult for me to find things to work with my students. Education as a whole is pushing us to spend more time on paper and pencil learning with our students. I couldn't agree more that this is necessary. Students absolutely need to know how to live and succeed in a world of technology, but they also need the opportunity to put pencil to paper. We know that kind of learning is valuable, and we know it helps build the foundational skills students need to continue learning. Along with failing to consistently provide the basic essentials we need, our district has once again made overly generalized decisions for all schools and teachers without consulting the people who actually use these programs and resources. This year, without warning, the district eliminated Accelerated Reader from our schools. Accelerated Reader has been an excellent program for motivating students to read. I have used it throughout my entire teaching career to help students stay on track with their reading and become successful, confident readers. My school has a strong AR program, and we had developed an effective system for recognizing and rewarding students for their reading efforts. Another valuable resource I have used for the past 18 years is iExcel. Without warning, discussion, or meaningful information provided to teachers and school sites, the district also decided to eliminate this program. Had these decisions been communicated back in the spring when individual school sites were making decisions about which programs they would fund through their school site budgets, schools would have at least had the opportunity to make informed choices about whether they wanted to continue purchasing these programs themselves. That is the larger issue I want to address tonight. When will the district start valuing information, experience, and professional knowledge of its teachers and experienced employees? When will we stop making unilateral decisions from the top that may look efficient on paper but do not necessarily benefit the students sitting in our rooms? Teachers are the people who see these students every day. We know what motivates them, we know where they struggle, we know which programs help them. We know what resources are missing from our classrooms, and we should have a meaningful voice in decisions that directly affect our ability to educate our students. I also have serious questions about the structure and spending priorities of the district. When will we take a hard look at how top-heavy the district office has become? How many layers of administration do we really need? And when contracts are maintained for individuals who are not meeting the expectations of their positions, when will we start asking whether that money could be better used directly for students and classrooms?
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Any other speakers?
We do on Zoom, Crystal Wiley.
I do not have anyone in the waiting room with the name Crystal Wiley, but I do have an iPhone guest.
Can we try that one, please?
I'm letting them in now and asking them to unmute. I'll ask them again to unmute.
We can come back to that one. Are there any other speakers?
That does it for tonight's speakers.
Did they unmute? Or no? All right. Moving on. We'll close public testimony here. Going on to the consent, we're taking items 2 to 25. Any trustee want to pull an item? Trustee Kraus?
Yes, thank you. Number 3, 7, and 10. That's it. Thank you. 3,
Trustee-
7, and 10.
Gotcha. Trustee Stewart?
2 and 4.
Trustee LaFrench? VP Kyer?
I have none.
And
President-
Trustee Kraus?
I did have clarification. Trustee Stewart did call the one that I meant to call instead of 3. I meant to call 2, but she's already called it. So if you want, just Nick's number 3, and we'll let Trustee Stewart open for number 2. That was the one I meant to pull.
Gotcha.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kraus. I motion that we approve those via consent with those exceptions. Is there a second?
Kyer. I second.
Second by Trustee VP Kyer. Going back to the items pulled. I motion that we approve number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. LeVay, the vote, please.
Trustee Kraus.
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer.
Kyer, aye.
Trustee LaFrench.
French, aye.
Trustee Stewart.
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
So do I, 5-0. Thank you, Trustee Stewart. Now moving on to number 2. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer. I'm sorry.
Give it to Stewart.
Second by Trustee Stewart. We'll open it up for discussion. Trustee Stewart, since you pulled it.
This was pulled because I believe that the subject is incorrect. It should be another name. Could we clarify that? Or is that the actual subject?
I'm not seeing what you're saying, Trustee Stewart.
Actually, I do see it, Trustee Stewart. Number 2 and number 4 are identical in the subject, but it looks like number 2 is not organizational management. It looks confusing. I'm sorry. Number 2 and number 4 are identical, though.
So are they the same thing?
Oh, I see. The consent agenda items for 2 or 4 are the exact same thing, but you're asking if they're duplicates or if it's an error.
Yes.
So item number 2 is actually a contract for the math professional development offered by the county. And that is so it would be approval of for the contract proposal for this coming school year. So that could be an error in regards to the subject itself. So we apologize. That was overseen when we were doing reviews. It is basically the contract where the county would provide 8 days for every single grade level. It would be a total of 8 days of training and the new math framework and standards in preparation for the new math adoption materials for the following school year.
Okay, all right. I just wasn't sure because I'm seeing that. Does any adjustment need to be made on this so that it's clear in our minutes?
Yes, we would adjust the subject line. The content is still exactly the same. So what we could do, it could be held and we could bring it back to board with the corrected subject on the 25th.
So I'm going to assume there's no time sensitivity we should be concerned about approving this today.
No, the actual first day of the professional development is in October. So there's no problem with us pulling it and then making the correction and submitting the corrected agenda item on the for the next board meeting in August.
Okay, so can I make a substitute motion to table this so it could be corrected and then brought back?
Is there a second? Soto, I'll second that. We'll take the vote, Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus,
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer,
Kyer abstain.
Trustee LaFrench,
French, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
Soto, aye. Motion passes with one abstention. Moving on to number 4. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Stewart, I second it.
Open up for discussion. Trustee Stewart, since you pulled it.
I believe this item was already approved in July 28th at the last board meeting.
Yeah, so it might have been already approved. I wasn't here at that board meeting.
Trustee Stewart, I do believe you're correct. I just looked at the last board meeting and it was approved.
So do we need to?
So if this is the exact same one and it's been approved, then we can go ahead and then pull this one and not have to do this approval if that's the case. So just checking with the services, that would be the case.
If it was approved, then it can be pulled. I apologize, I was not here at that board meeting on the 28th, so I do not have that recollection, but we can go by the minutes. And if it was already approved, then this item today can be pulled.
Okay, so I make a substitute motion that we table this item as it has already been approved.
There's a amendment motion by Trustee Stewart. Is there a second?
Kraus, I'll second.
All right, we'll take the vote, Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus,
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer,
Kyer abstain.
Trustee LaFrench,
French, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
Soto, aye. Motion passes with one abstention. Moving on to number 7, approval of the purchase order. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kraus, I second.
We'll open it for discussion. Trustee Kraus, since you pulled it.
Thank you. No discussion, just pull the vote.
Trustee Stewart.
I do have some discussion on this. On the warrant report, item line number 115 151, 152, and 153. It's hat tricks for staff shirts. Usually, if it's a uniform, it says like security guard uniform, or bus driver uniform, but it's just staff shirts. Do we know what staff this one is?
You're gonna did you? So I didn't even catch the numbers you were talking about. Which items?
On the warrant report, 151, 152, and 153.
Yes, I can speak to that if you like, Superintendent. And so, this being one of the first warrant reports that I've been reviewed, that actually caught my attention as well. Myself and the executive assistant spoke to individuals that we believe enter this as a purchase. I brought it to the superintendent's attention as well. And so we are handling it internally because we want to make certain that it is an appropriate purchase. And so it has been brought to our attention and we are taking appropriate actions for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Trustee LaFrench.
That was the question I had regarding these staff shirts and what the staff shirts were purchased for.
Understood. And so know that I'm looking at the entire warrants, not just those, but all of the warrants, and making certain that they're appropriate and right. But as you see, there's numerous. And so it's more of an audit. And as we see those things that aren't quite clear or aren't quite as comprehensive or clear for anyone that can read it, then it brings it to my attention and we are making certain we research it and find out what has transpired.
VP Kyer.
No questions. Thank you.
I have no questions. Thank you, staff, Dr. Vegas, for being on top of it. Obviously, seems to be a concern of the board, so I really appreciate you guys being on top of that. I motion that we approve the purchase order. Oh, I'm sorry. There is already a first and a second. Ms. LeVay, the vote?
Trustee Krause,
Kraus, nay.
Trustee Kyer,
Kyer, aye.
Trustee LaFrench,
French, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto.
So do I. Motion passes with one no. Moving on to number 10. Ratification of the Bell Mountain Enterprise, High Desert Alarm, and Barstow Alarm. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kraus, I second.
We'll open it up for discussion. Trustee Cross, since you pulled it.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. On this memo, under the subject line as well, I believe that that is incorrect. Just for the record, that this is an item for a alarm service monitoring agreement with Bell Mountain Enterprise. And then on the attachment for this one, this might be a question for Dr. Davis, but I'll defer to Dr. Villegas. It has IT's email on there, but it's under business services, and it's my understanding IT has moved to ed services. So on the memo, it's under business services, but on this contract, it's with the person that oversees IT. And then it looks like a personal cell phone number there, but I could be wrong. The 951 is definitely not a 760 for the high desert. And I don't know that we can put personal phone numbers on contracts. So those are my questions. The subject matter, whose department does this fall under? Is it IT, or should it be reflected to business services? And then is that a personal cell phone number on the contract? Those are all the questions I have on this one. Thank you.
Yes, and so the subject line is a mistake, and that needs to be addressed and changed, or at least, like you said, noted as a error in the memo related to this particular contract. The typically we if this would fall under ed services because it is under ed services in terms of they follow IT does fall under ed services at this time. That's something that we're looking at potentially changing in the future, but at this time they do oversee IT. And so, and as related to the phone number, I'm not sure if that's I also see that that's got to be a personal number, so we might have to make an adjustment on that phone number to make sure that it's a district cell. Don't know if that's actually a policy, but it would make sense for us to make sure we have, not our personal numbers in there. So those adjustments will be made.
No, I appreciate it, Dr. Vegas. Thank you, and President Soto. That's all the questions, comments I had. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Kraus. Trustee Stewart, any comments, questions?
I have none.
Trustees LaFrench,
I have none.
VP Kyer.
I have none.
I have none. We'll take the vote. Ms. LeVay?
So the vote is to accept it the way it is, or what are we voting on?
Well, we would have met, go ahead.
What, I just get a little bit more information, clarification. So what this was sort of a collaborative effort, and that the IT department was assisting in making this quote happen. And so the reason that it's under business services, it's because it would be for for Richard and facilities that this was obtained, but it was in collaboration with IT in terms of the assistance of making this happen. And to that degree, you did have Mr. Sinatra's information there, and it looks like probably the number that he does use for these types of matters. But there are collaborations sometimes in these matters, and this is one of those areas where this particular collaboration does intersect two different departments.
Thank you, Dr. Vegas. So I will motion that we amend my motion to approve this consent agenda item with the correction that the subject line be corrected. Is there a second?
Kraus, I second.
All right. We'll take the vote.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, I.
Trustee LaFrench?
French, I.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, I.
Trustee Soto?
Soto, aye. Motion passes 5-0 with that amendment. All right. Moving on to number 12, new business. We are to discuss on AR 5141 2.27 food allergy / special dietary needs. I motion that we approve the discussion. We open it up for discussion. Is there a second?
And this is just for discussion?
Discussion, and then based on a consensus, I believe, Dr. Vegas?
So it is a discussion, and should the board decide that they want to give me direction on doing something with the policy, then the board would give me some direction to work with our team to see if we would update the policy and come back with a version.
Still need a second for the discussion.
Actually, you don't need a vote. It's just a discussion item.
So, for clarification, this is just a discussion with potential direction to the superintendent.
Yes, and just because we are discussing district business, there should be a motion to open up for discussion.
Okay, just to cover our butt, I will second your motion for discussion.
All right, we'll open it up for discussion. I'll see the item. This item was something that was brought up to me and has been in discussion before. I think over a year. This has been a topic of importance to VP Kyer, and so I wanted us to talk about it and to see where we probably doing a horrible job teeing up your item. I apologize, but there's reasonings, right? VP Kyer, if you wanna.
Oh, do I get to take it away? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it away. So this was a item that I brought to President Soto last year, and I'm quite passionate about it. I've spoken to numerous teachers and educators throughout our district. In here, I wanted to emphasize the significance for classroom incentives, student celebrations, and how important it is to remind our students of their hard work. And it has been made abundantly clear to me by numerous people we don't achieve that goal with carrot sticks or celery sticks. We achieve that with incentives that students do look forward to and apply themselves for. So, with much ado, I do want to extend my gratitude to those who did not stray away from bringing it to my attention, or those who were brave enough to discuss kind of that frustrations. For example, and one of the, I guess, more impactful moments was when I walked into a classroom and that educator became scared. I guess that would be the best word, because there was a student who didn't come from very much. My understanding, they didn't have very much, and the best that their family could do was cupcakes for his class. I think it's essential to remember that we do come from a district that statistically is 70% socially and economically deprived, and sometimes we do need to acknowledge exceptions to make sure every student is supported and loved and cherished in those moments. So I started working on this, researching avenues last year, and it was something that I really wanted the board to consider and look into, kind of putting it into policy as well. And so I will close on that one.
Thank you, VP Kyer. Go this way since we were going this way. Trustee LaFrench, any comments, questions, concerns, discussion?
I do. I have questions. Do you want me to start while you go through?
Um, I guess one of my questions would be, how does this impact the food program we have with healthy eating and things of that nature? And what's being asked?
So we do have a little bit. I asked actually Dr. Davis to look into our nutrition policy and seeing if there's any room for this to intersect. So he has a little bit of information related to that he'd like to share to the board, and if in fact they can work with a symbiotic way. So Dr. Davis.
And so thank you. So at the direction of the superintendent, I had an opportunity to do some research and some comparative analysis between what we have presently as a position for the board and then what we currently have as our board policy, which is additionally attached as 50/30. And so when you look at the two, there really isn't any conflict between the two. What I would say is, in comparison of the two, um, one would be a little more stringent, and one would be a little more liberal, understanding that and recognizing what we have as far as a wellness policy within within our district, we could still utilize what Trustee Kyer is expressing and would like to see be brought before and installed as far as a policy. But we have to make certain we understand the caveats around our wellness plan, which is one that when individuals do bring something, that has to be store bought and prepackaged, and it cannot be anything homemade. If those two items are adhered to, then there shouldn't be any type of problem regarding either policies or conflict with our child nutrition services.
And do we have provisions for those children that could have an allergy to something that's being brought in?
Correct. And so the wellness policy actually stipulates and ensures that we adhere to food allergies, nut allergies, and gluten freeness. And the policy that we have before us, excuse me, that what we're looking at today as far as administrative regulation consideration also has that included. And so, again, they pretty much marry one another. They do not compete. One is just asking that we take additional precautions to guard ourselves as far as the district is concerned.
Are we making provisions for children that may not be able to bring something in? Because if I could bring something in, but my friend can't bring something in, and it's my birthday too, what would we do in order to make sure that every child's birthday was celebrated with those cupcakes or with those cakes
And so,
or
what will
whatever
end
they're bringing in?
apologize for speaking over you. So what we will end up doing is creating a procedure that we will send out to the to the school sites so that principals are aware of the new policy and the administrative regulations and allow those site level administrators to have conversations with their staffs around how in which birthday parties and those activities could be balanced for those that aren't quite well off that can provide those types of nutritional and or incentives for our students.
One last question I have we surveyed or asked the teaching staff um, for their buy-in when it comes to this? This will change, or will this take away from instructional time, or have they had an input on this policy?
And that's a really good point. And that's one of the things I was going to opine on that point. That before we would bring this back to the board, we would want to get input from our site administration, from our site leadership, and to the extent that our teachers would have to also, give their feedback through our administrators and let us know how this impact the school site, because that's exactly the question is, what is the impact to the instructional program, what's the impact to the time, and how much of what would this actually look like in the school system. So those have not been done. This is just a conversation that we started having, based on an initial request. um, the initial piece was to look at, does it conflict with any of our existing policies? And then if there is direction to look further into this, then we will look at that and come back with some feedback to the board related to, is this of interest to the school sites? Is this going to make a bigger impact for the programs, or with some concerns? Or we will draft something that brings that forth with all the information that we gather.
Because I know currently the schools do pizza parties or ice cream celebrations and things like that for class participation or attendance and things of that nature. But I am in agreement with celebrating children's birthdays. Everyone feels good when their birthday is celebrated or acknowledged. I feel good that my birthday was acknowledged tonight. I just want to make sure that if I was not able to provide my child with it, would the district pick up or someone pick up the cost so every child feels celebrated, because people do want to, children, adults, humans feel like someone is acknowledging and celebrating them on that particular day. No more questions. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Trustee Stewart?
So when I read the agenda on this item, there are attachments, but you usually get this is what, we want, the subject, the rationale. So I honestly do not know what is going on, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, because when my kids went to school and it was their birthday, I would take a cupcake. so is it not allowed in the school district to bring cupcakes for your child if it's their birthday?
I do believe it's allowed right now, and there is an opportunity for that to happen. So it is currently allowed, and I think this would just make some clarity around those parameters that it is allowed, and how would this be promoted. And I think part of the opportunity was to have it an open session and have a conversation so that we can all have some more clarity on this particular matter as well. So we know that there's an interest in having some sort of a mechanism for that recognition of students, and perhaps to give them some levels of rewards, and for food to be part of that. And so, I also was hoping to get some clarity, and that way we would be able then to bring something forth if the board chose to, for us to support that, um, and if it's even needed, because you're absolutely right, that is already allowed in our schools. But I do believe it might be at the discretion of school sites, because I do think, as was stated earlier, there may be some limitations because of instructional program and other things. So it's looking at this a little bit further.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure because it was like I honestly thought what they aren't allowed to bring cupcakes. It's like I just wanted clarity on that so parents still can bring it, or if teachers choose to bring, an incentive for their class, they can do that. Correct?
Correct. And so, as you mentioned, it doesn't have a rationale because it was, again, a discussion item that we wanted to make sure we brought forth at the direction the, of the board and the superintendent, and had an open conversation around what the comparison was between what is being asked and what we currently have as far as board policy. And so
Okay.
once we are clear on what we're being asked as members of the superintendent's cabinet, then we can start crafting what it will look like, and then come forward to you regarding what we would like to see. And as the superintendent mentioned, as well as myself, that will also be making certain that we reached out to the school site administrators and had that conversation with them around how can we make certain that this is pervasive throughout their campuses and ensures that we are recognizing the students who may not be able to afford it themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Kraus?
Yes, thank you, President Soto. As I went through the documents, if I could bring your attention to the AR Regulation 5141.27. It's one of the attachments, the three. And as I scroll down to the second page, under number 3, it does have what I'm normally used to seeing of any kind of changes in red. And before I continue my discussion, is this what the proposed changes are in red for this AR?
Those are considerations, but rather than have that necessarily be the actual language, I wanted to just have some level of clarity and make sure that that's the direction that the board would want. What I didn't want the board to think is that this has already been written and we're proposing it. I just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity for discussion, and that certainly could be the language that we use, but it's not necessarily. I didn't want to bring it forth just as a sample or first reading, that type of thing.
All right, so then my next question goes to Vice President Kyer. Is this something, the language that you see here in red, is that something that may address or partly addresses some of the concerns that were brought to you by families?
I appreciate your question. So the cupcake was the start of my research into this. It obviously opened up more doors, more conversations, and so essentially, yes, the proposed language that we see in red, emphasizing the student celebrations, the importance of promoting positive behavior, academic effort, and social development, was along the lines of how I was trying to relay my message, and emphasize how or what I was seeking for the policy revision. This policy has not been revised since 2014. It's about 12 years out of date. So I did, I wanted to believe that this is something the board would consider at least.
Thank you for that clarification, Vice President Kyer. And I do appreciate staff putting some language in here for us to review on this matter. I do believe that we should allow parties in general at school sites to happen throughout the year, as it is a morale booster for celebrations, whether it's state testing or somebody's birthday or just getting out for fall break or what have you there. So that's one thing that I'm in full support of. The second paragraph in red, and one of the reasons it was asked, well, do we already do this? Perhaps, but why do we codify things? We codify things so that there's no ambiguity related to what's allowed and what's not. And so as we go through board policies as a board and we make changes, CSBA makes changes, a lot of times it's because there's ambiguous questions. For example, on this second paragraph, I would, in my opinion, one trustee, the very last sentence that talks about and school activities at the district's discretion. Well, if I read that and I'm a school site administrator, I'm wondering exactly who at the district and who's going to make that decision, because your opinion of what can be allowed in a classroom could be different than the other person's opinion what can be allowed in a classroom. So that's where I hope that when we do come up with a final language, it is a little more clear as to who's going to make the call. I, in my opinion, think that the school principals are the CEOs of their sites, and they should make that decision. That's just one trustee about what is allowed at their school site, because they know their parents best, they know their students best, and the law states that they have to notify their staff if there are documented allergies of students in the district. So if a student's parent brings in a form from the doctor that says, my student is allergic to peanuts, or something variation like that, the staff have to be told. This is not some giant secret from the rest of the staff members at that school site. It legally has to be told to them. And I hope that's going on so that staff are aware, teachers, classified staff are aware, because we don't want somebody bringing something and then, feeling sorry for a kid who said I didn't have breakfast and giving them a peanut butter cracker and they're allergic to peanuts. So as an example, but again, I like the language. I think it's on the right track about allowing these things, and codifying it at some point will give clarity not only to the staff but also to the parents. And that's the only comments I have. Thank you.
Point of clarity. Just as a point of clarity, this isn't our proposed language. This is sample language. And I want to make the distinction because I don't want anyone to think that this is what we're bringing forth as what we are suggesting or recommending as a language.
Thank you for that, Dr. Davis.
All right. I'm in full support. I don't have nothing else to say besides that. Yeah, I'm in support of this too. So it sounds like there seems to be a consensus from the board that we're somewhat interested, or we are interested in this.
So we'll come back with some updates on this, whether it's with a robust and some feedback from the sites as well.
All right. Moving on to number. Thank you.
Before we move on, can we, just for the minute's sake, can we make sure that we have clear direction? So at this time, I support the direction. Do I have anybody else?
I concur.
Yeah, I concur. I mean, it's on record, but yeah, at least three.
Clear.
You want it clear?
Yeah.
Trustee French, Trustee Stewart.
I'm fine.
I'm fine as well. I do notice that it does say outside food. So outside food and cupcakes, that's like having a McDonald's party or something like that. I am fine with it, with the clarity that it is clear of what we're saying that can be done. Pizza parties or whatever.
All right. I think that's good. All right. Moving on to number 2.
President Soto, I apologize. I have a first by Soto, a second by Kyer. Are you wanting us to take the vote?
No vote. No.
Thank you.
Just thank you. Moving on to number 2, approval of the amendment for the interim contract. Motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer, I second.
We'll open up for discussion. Trustee Kraus.
Yes, thank you, President Soto. I do want to publicly recognize Dr. Marco Villegas this evening. Since he's been here with us, February, around there, this year, he has come on in and really grabbed a lot of issues by the reins, academically, uh, in all areas, really, not just academics, but all of the things that help make a school district operational. He has probably said to himself a few times, why? But at the end of the day, I know he does it for our students. He does it for our families. He does it for our staff. Every day that he drives, like many people that have worked in our district, he does have a drive. And I do appreciate that drive that he does on a daily basis to come up here and give it his all on a daily basis. And we have recognized the need to keep him with us while we undertake a permanent superintendent search. People may not know, on August 1st, we had a workshop, and the board had the Casca group here to have discussions about hiring a permanent superintendent. And that timeline goes out quite a ways. And so as you see here this evening, I'm glad to see that this First Amendment, to February 28th of 2027. I think that will give us enough time to completely conduct a superintendent search. And I appreciate again the work that has been going on with Dr. Villegas and his staff. He has a lot of new staff, and I hope that he continues to do the great job that he has been doing for the district. And with that, I'll end my comments. Thank you, President Soto.
Thank you, Trustee Kraus. Trustee Stewart.
I have no comments.
Trustee LaFrench.
I have no comments.
Trustee Kyer or VP Kyer.
I'm going to reserve my comments for board members' comments. Thank you.
Like I want to. Reason why I'm hesitant is because I don't want to spend too much time on this. We're just very lucky to have some stability, and we're very lucky to have a superintendent who has a wealth of experience. So he's using that experience, to stabilize the district. One of the things that he took on right away was stabilizing the budget, or we're working towards that as well. I mean, 6.8 million, I believe, 6 point something million was cut from our budget so that we can continue to be an operating district. He didn't have to do that. He's just an interim. So he's taking the initiative, and we're just very lucky. So, all right, I'll take the vote. Or we'll take the vote, Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, aye.
Trustee LaFrench?
LaFrench, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, nay.
Trustee Soto?
Soto, aye. Motion passes 4-1. Moving on to number 3, approval of the E-rate sales order agreement for switching equipment with AMS.net. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Kyer, I second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, aye.
Trustee LaFrench?
LaFrench, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto?
Soto, aye. Motion passes 5-0. I'm going too fast, so let me backtrack. Let me back up a little bit, reporting out what the board just took action on. Number
12.2.
12.2. It was moved by myself, seconded by VP Kyer, to approve amendment of the interim superintendent contract of Marco A. Villegas, PhD, for the position of interim superintendent, effective September 1st, 2026. The oral report of the recommendation is as follows. The proposed contract is from September 1st, 2026 to February 27, 2027, $129,698 for salary, health and well health and welfare cap of 21,742 with 80 cents, 12 days of sick leave, 3 days of accrual vacation per month, 1,000 monthly auto allowance, 1,000 reimbursement for life insurance, and district shall provide the employee with an annual contribution to a tax deferred retirement account 403B or 5457B in the amount of 6% of the total base salary, and the board took action to approve that 4-1. Moving on to number 4, approval of the school project for utility rate reduction spur authorization. I move that we approve. Is there a second?
Crier, I second.
Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Ms. LeVey, the vote.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Crier, aye.
Trustee La French?
Left French, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto?
So do I. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to policy introductions. HR approval of the second read and revision of board policy 6142.7, physical education and activity. I motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Crier, I second.
Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Ms. LeVey.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Crier, aye.
Trustee La French?
Left French, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto?
So do I. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to governing board members' reports and announcements. Trustee Kraus.
Yes, thank you, President Soto, and congratulations, Dr. Villegas, for your extension. We hope that you will continue doing the great job and working with the board like you have. And one of the things I want to say is that your communication has been outstanding to the board. Whenever I've had any questions, you've answered them. You've gotten back to me quickly. And so, again, congratulations for sticking it out with us. And we look forward to more time with you while we conduct the permanent superintendent search. I just wanted to congratulate all of our staff and students and families for a great start to the school year. There has been hiccups. We are aware. We appreciate everyone that emails, texts, or calls board members, myself, or the superintendent. I generally, this is how I work. If you relay a concern to me, I will pass it on to Dr. Villegas, and then he will determine how to handle that complaint or concern with his team. Because as board members, my role is to facilitate your concerns to him as the interim superintendent. And he has done, like I stated earlier, a great job of communicating, following up with those concerns and making sure that if it's a parent or a staff member, whatever it is, and he'll tell you that I give him a lot of info that he works with and tries to determine what's going on. So again, we appreciate a great start to the school year and hope to work out our hiccups here as we move forward. We are also, I say we, but I'd like to just speak for myself. I'm here for our students and our staff and our families. Everything that we do should be focused on that. Every comment that we make, every question that we have on the dais or I have on the dais, I will attempt to do a better job of focusing it on how does it benefit our students, our staff, or our families. When items come before me as a board member, one individual board member, I want to make sure that they're vetted, that we're doing what's right and what's best for our students, staff, and families at the end of the day. Because that's really what we're here for. At least I keep saying I am here for as one individual board member. I speak just for me. But I want to make it clear that if there's anything that you feel like I should have asked, reach out to me and I'll touch base with Dr. Villegas about it. Or President Soto. I do keep in touch with President Soto on a regular basis to keep him informed of any concerns as well, so that he is aware of these things. But again, every concern that I bring to the dais or question or comment, I hope that at the end of the day, it benefits somehow our students, staff, and families, because that's what we're really all here for. And we all cannot rise if one of us is not rising together. And so I wanted to, stress the fact that as we move forward in the 26-27 school year, let's really keep that in our focus. Let's really think about what we're here for. And at the end of the day, how can we make Adelanto Elementary School District a better place, not just for the board, not just for the administration, but for our staff, students, and families. And so With that, that's all my comments this evening. Thank you, President Soto.
Thank you, Trustee Kraus. Trustee Stewart.
Um, good evening. So I want to start off with a welcome back to our staff and students for the 26-27 school year. I want to speak to the students who are new to middle school. I know it's scary, but you will adjust. Please do not be afraid to ask questions. That's what your teachers are there for. They want you to ask questions. They really do. Keep track of the homework and stay on top of it because time flies when you think you have plenty of time to do that. Also, to our brand new TK and kinders, they really look so cute with the backpacks. They're so big on their backpacks. You can shove them in the backpacks. They're so cute. I know you may have had criers. Hang in there; they will stop crying. At my school site, we have a couple who still don't want to go, but there isn't as much crying as there is. So hang in there, please. It will get better. And to our TK and kinder teachers, God bless you because I don't know how you do it. I would run out of the classroom screaming and crying because I couldn't handle the crying. But that's just me. That's love friend. She could take it. I also want to remind the drivers on the road, please, when the buses are stopped and the red lights are flashing, both directions are supposed to stop. That's the law, and you don't go until they stop flashing. Okay, it's a hefty ticket. My brother found out the hard way. Also, I want to make sure that please students use the crosswalks as you cross the street, and the cars again, you have to wait till they leave that crosswalk to go. It's really easy to miss a little if you're in a rush and you're paying attention. And I want to make sure that all of our students are safe at all the times. So please have a wonderful school year. Oh, real quick. Sorry. We did have a workshop, and there will be groups. There will be the search firm will conduct surveys to different groups, parents, staff, on so that the community can get their input on our search, and hopefully when we have another workshop with the search, that could be recorded on YouTube so the community could watch and see how the process went, and just in the fairness of transparency. So and really quick, Dr. Viegas, the slide deck you gave us, is that available to the public as well?
We have not made it public, but we could certainly share it if that was the desire of the board. It has data. I mean, we would just go through it and make sure there was nothing that is too private or that needs to be confidential. But I don't think there's anything on there that the public that's not public information. So
Well, mostly it was the part of the presentations that academic services and business services gave.
Sure. I think since all of that data is public, we could certainly share that.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, if the board is okay with that. Thank you.
I need to make sure that there's some the most recent data. I don't know if that's already been shared publicly, but if that's the case, we'll just redact that one bit of information, but everything else can be.
Okay. Thank you, and please have a good night.
Thank you, Trustee LaFrench.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to start by saying how wonderful it was to see so many familiar faces at our welcome back kickoff last Monday. There was such a great energy in the room, and I hope that everyone is settling in and feeling excited about their new school year. It's amazing on what you can do with a camera to be able to hold the camera up in the air and catch everyone that was out on the playground that day. I was amazed on how a camera works like that. So, yeah, shout out to our PIO. Sorry. As we begin another school year, I want our staff to know how much I appreciate the work you do every day. Whether you are in the classroom, working in an office, driving a bus, preparing meals, keeping our campuses safe and clean, or supporting our students in another role, you are an important part of what makes our district successful. I also want our families to know that your voices and your partnerships matter. Our students do their best when the school district, staff, families, and communities work together. Most importantly, I want our students to have a great year where they feel supported, challenged, encouraged, and proud of themselves. Every decision we make should continue to come back to what is best for them. I am grateful for the opportunity to continue serving our students, families, staff, and community, and I look forward to another successful school year. Welcome back, everyone, and let's make it a great year. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee LaFrench. Lady Claire.
Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Wow. So I want to start by saying that I know what are we on the fourth day of school is definitely a transition. I know coming back this year, we had a lot of new faces, a lot of new leadership, a lot of new culture being, built. And so I do want to extend my gratitude for everyone as we have transitioned in this new school year. More importantly, or not more importantly, but as importantly, I do want to extend my gratitude to Dr. Villegas. I know that this challenge has not been for the weak hearted. I know that you have tackled issues that many before you have attempted. Um, and I applaud your success in them. I do also want to take a brief moment and wish our other fellow trustee, Trustee LaFrench, a happy birthday, as she does have a birthday coming up. And, sometimes it is nice to have that appreciation shared with you. Um, yeah, so at that rate, I'm going to go ahead and close my comments for tonight, but thank you.
Thank you, VP. Um, yeah, I want to say welcome back, everybody, to the school district. And I was also there back to school, and I was also there at the back to school event. And um, you can just tell by the passion by our employees there who care so much about the district. You can see it in the way that they express themselves. You can see it in the way that they're sweating when they're talking about it. Those are the type of leaders that we need. People who care and they're just so passionate. It almost looks like they're having a panic attack, but they just care so much. So those are the type of leaders that I absorbed, noticed at the back to school event, and there's some things that may be challenging at the district, but for the most part, we are moving forward and we're stabilizing. Um, and you will be hearing more from me. That's all I want to say for tonight. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at there. Leave it at that. And and I want to do wish happy birthday to Trista LaFrench as well, as her birthday is coming up. We got her some balloons, a card, and some cake. So hope you enjoy that tonight with your family. And
I do. I appreciate the acknowledgement. I truly do. Thank you.
Of course. And
Will you sing happy birthday to her?
I mean,
we don't have to. It's getting late. But
she wants to go home and celebrate.
I do.
You can.
I thought I put you on the spot there.
Put you on the hot seat for a second. But I'll just close it off out there. We're going to superintendent reports and announcements.
Well, thank you. I'll try to make this as quick as I possibly can. And it has been addressed before, the welcome back of seeing all the staff and seeing all of our employees, or at least as many as that could come in one location. It really goes to the idea of a team, and that it does take a team. I know that was said earlier, how it every single individual in our school district matters and is making an impact, and the work that they do is for the purpose of making sure that our students are learning, and that they're moving along, and that they have a better outcome in their career and their lives. Um, to that end, our motto or our theme for the year was finding the greatness within you, and that means finding the greatness within ourselves and finding the greatness within each other, and we spoke about that, and it was really nice to see everyone you know knowing that there is greatness in every single individual, and there's greatness within all of us. And it's difficult sometimes to make sure that we bring that every day, but we are looking to make sure we do that, and that we try to help each other find that greatness within ourselves. And so again, that's the theme, and I got the chance to visit. I've visited half the schools so far this year, and it's really wonderful to see the energy, the students that are learning, the families that are there, and the first day of school families were either really excited to get their students back into school, or they were happy they weren't going to be home. I don't know, but there was a lot of excitement in the air on that first day of school, and it was really wonderful to see that. And so I'm really looking forward to being part of this district while as long as I am here. I know that the district is committed to finding a superintendent, and I really trust that process is going to be very valuable, and something that at the end of it will bring a good quality leader to our district. And so I congratulate the board for taking that on and making that happen. And so with that, I thank everyone, and thank you for all of the support that our staff has had. And again, a lot of nice things have been said, but really that doesn't happen. It's really not me. It's the staff that is here. All of the staff that does this. They're the ones that really do the heavy lifting and the work. And so any successes that I may have, even partial, is really because of the staff that we have.
That's what a good leader does. Gives the credit to staff. But all right, moving on to adjournment. I motion that we adjourn. Is there a second?
French, I second.
We'll take the vote, Ms. LeVay.
Trustee Kraus?
Kraus, aye.
Trustee Kyer?
Kyer, aye.
Trustee LaFrench?
LaFrench, aye.
Trustee Stewart?
Stewart, aye.
Trustee Soto?
So do I. The time is 8:30. We are adjourned.